It's hard to believe, but we're already more than halfway through 2024. Man, I'm really getting old. Therefore, I figured it might be cool to check in with Jailbreak and see how the game is faring right now and reflect on the updates we've gotten so far. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe and let me know what you think of Jailbreak so far in 2024. Thanks for watching, and let's get started by going through the updates we've gotten so far. So the first update of the year arrived in February. Usually February updates aren't very strong in my opinion. The year doesn't always start off with a bang, but this update was an exception and is probably the best February update we've had. It was surprisingly really solid. The quality of life changes, like changing the robbery amounts and letting us spawn boats in the water, were excellent and well needed. The XRT was a really good vehicle, and the drowning feature helped give people more of a reason to use boats. I also love the big mountain they added behind the prison and a Hollywood-esque Jailbreak sign. I think it's really cool and makes the map look just a bit better. I was not the biggest fan of Season 20 though. I was really excited for an apocalypse themed season, and I thought this one was kind of disappointing. In particular, I was not a big fan of the grand prize, and I don't think it's very good. But besides that, I think this update was really good and a fantastic start to the year. Then in March, we got the Apocalypse update Part 2. The devs did something which they haven't really done for seasons before, where they actually changed the map to fit the season theme. They made the skies a bit darker to give the map more of an apocalyptic feel. I wish that they did a bit more than that. Like, I wish they changed up some of the buildings in the city, make them look a little bit wrecked or something. Though it would have been kind of weird if they did that and then have a live event where the city would get destroyed by aliens right after. And that made me think maybe the apocalypse season should have been after the live event and have it themed around the destruction that the aliens brought upon the city, but then we wouldn't be able to get the classic season, so I don't really care too much about how they placed season 20, and I'm happy that they changed the map at all, since they usually don't do this. The devs also finally revamped the gun models and gave the guns new sounds, which was something I was super happy to see since I wasn't a fan of the previous gun models for the most part. I really like these ones, and it's so fun to use these guns. Really happy that they did that. They also revamped the police safes with some new rewards, and we got the Hammerhead vehicle, which I really like and would have preferred if this was the grand prize instead of the striker. And to be honest, it felt like they added this kind of to compensate for people who wanted the Hammerhead to win, but I still like it and I'm glad that they added it to the game. They also revamped the jetpack, which was something that I had wanted since I wasn't happy with the previous state of the jetpack. But in my opinion, this revamp still left a lot to be desired. You still cannot customize the jetpack, and the takeoff is so slow, and the jetpack doesn't work in a lot of robberies. So I don't think this revamp fixed much with regards to the jetpack, and I still have problems with it. I really wish you can customize it. And also, I think it really should have its own dedicated building, and it shouldn't just be dropped randomly in parts of the map. So this is a rare case of a revamp not quite going as well as I would want it to. Lastly, they added a tutorial for new players with all of these perks right here, but it was only for a small minority of them. I made a new account and I did not see any of this. I like that they're trying to help new players since Jailbreak is pretty beginner unfriendly in my opinion, but this tutorial, since it's only applicable for a small percentage of people, isn't that noteworthy. Overall, I was pretty happy with this update as well, but I wasn't happy with some parts of it, like the jetpack revamp. Then in April, of course, we got the long anticipated live events. However, this one had a lot of extra weight to it since the devs revealed that this live event would be ending the era of consistent monthly updates. We would still get updates and seasons, just not as frequently. It was sad to see since monthly updates have been such a big part of Jailbreak for years, and I've always really enjoyed checking them out every month. But to me, it wasn't really that unexpected since it felt like the game was reaching completion and there wasn't much else that they can really do for updates. There was a lot of speculation and hype. The devs were teasing it with some really cool trailers. People were excited to see what would happen. It seemed almost a given that the devs would bring back OG Jailbreak in some form. Unfortunately though, I found this live event to be a bit of a disappointment, as I talked about in my video a couple months ago, and you can go check it out if you want. And my opinion has not gotten better with time. I cannot believe how disappointing this live event was. It started off with such a bang. The alien boss fight was so cool, but they ended it off screen, and that was just a profound disappointment to me. And also, I can't say I'm a big fan of the update that came along with this live event either. Probably the best thing about it was the brand new plasma shotgun, But this shotgun got added to the game a couple days before the live event, which was disappointing. It would have been cool if this was a surprise addition in the live event instead of added a couple days before. That kind of took some of the air out of the balloon. We also got season 21, which was themed around OG Jailbreak. This was a pretty good season, not one of my favorites, but it was still pretty nice. And it was cool that the devs did it themselves this time. They hadn't done this in 3 years. They also brought back OG Jailbreak, as many people were anticipating, but they made it a separate game mode that you could visit for a month. And I think this was a really good idea, since OG Jailbreak really doesn't have that much to do, so it would be unwise to force it on all the players in the main game. However, while I do feel that part of OG Jailbreak was executed well, I still don't think it was handled the best. After playing it for about an hour, many players, including myself, just went back to the main game, since there really isn't much to do in OG Jailbreak, and there's no point in playing a worse version of the game when you have a modern version. But what's even worse about this for me is that nothing that you got in OG Jailbreak transferred over to the main game. Now, obviously, I don't want you to be able to buy the torpedo in OG Jailbreak and have it in the main game. That's not what I'm saying. But it just felt like there was no point to play OG Jailbreak, since none of your cash would save. Initially, they did give some motivation with the OG Lambo that you could unlock when everybody hit 2 billion J-Bucks collectively, but you didn't need to do much at all to get the OG Lambo. You just needed to get even a small amount of money and you would be able to unlock it in the main game, which I think was a mistake. I think you should have actually had to work for it. If I were to redo it, I would have it so if you earned 100,000 J-Bucks in OG Jailbreak, you would earn the OG Lambo. I would have liked that, as it would have made me play the OG mode more and given me more motivation. To be honest though, I just kind of wish that if you got money in OG Jailbreak, you also got money in the main game. If you chose to spend it on vehicles like the torpedo, you would have the disclaimer that you would not be getting this money back. But I think it would be worth it for a lot of people who don't own the torpedo to experience it for a month. I know a lot of people really loved OG Jailbreak coming back, and I know a lot of people really grinded it out and got almost every vehicle, but for me it just didn't hit that much and I didn't play it very much at all. And Asimo even mentioned that very few players were playing OG Jailbreak when it was around, so I don't think it was very well handled, and I think that's just because none of the stuff that you did in OG Jailbreak mattered to the main game. And I really think that making the money consistent across both modes would have fixed that. Lastly, I just wish this live event was a bit more consequential. Previous live events have always done something to the map, whether it's a brand new city, new oceans, or a new map expansion with more stuff to explore. There's always been some kind of long-term change that live events have implemented. However, this live event didn't really do that. The aliens destroyed the city a little bit, and then we got some glitchy particles and destroyed aliens around the map, but that was exclusive to season 21 and it was all reversed during season 22. Now, I don't need a new city. I think the city we have is perfectly fine, but maybe they could have taken this opportunity to revamp the Crater City instead, since it's still pretty basic, and maybe they could have added a couple new things to Crater City, like a small store, or maybe the jewelry store in Crater City, since we've already got the bank over there. But overall, while I did enjoy the live event and I do like some of the stuff added in this update, I still think it was pretty disappointing and it has only gotten worse with time when I'm reflecting on it. This brings us to the latest update, which we got about a week ago as of the time of this recording, the Season 22 update. As promised, since the devs are scaling back updates, they aren't really going to be adding much in terms of content, which I understand, and I wasn't expecting anything different. So I was completely fine with them only adding a new season, though they did revamp one of the safes. I live in America. I love that we're getting an American-themed season, and I actually really like most of the prizes. I'm very excited to get the grand prize. I know a lot of you guys were disappointed, but me personally, I'm a big fan of it. What I'm not a big fan of though is how they treated the crime safe. What they did is they revamped it and added a bunch of items that were also submitted for the season. So it felt more like an American themed safe or a season safe instead of a crime safe. To me, it just felt like overflow for the season. They couldn't fit all these prizes in the season, so they just put them in the safe. And I wasn't really a fan of that. In particular, adding the Venom in that safe felt like a way to compensate the people who were disappointed that it didn't win as the grand prize, which is the same thing that they did in season 20 with the police safe revamp, and I'm not really a fan of that. I think what they should do is add a exclusive season safe every season, and since the seasons are now going to be a bit longer, I'm assuming, since this one is 3 months long, Players will have a lot of time to grind as much money as they can get and buy all the prizes from the safes. This would actually be a good idea in my opinion, as it increases playtime and keeps people playing beyond just logging in every day, doing your contracts, getting your XP, and then leaving. But yeah, that was about it for the Season 22 update, which again, I'm pretty fine with. I didn't really need much else. I'm happy with what we got, though I do wish that the safe revamp was handled differently. So overall, I think the updates we've gotten this year have been pretty good. We already got a new weapon with the plasma shotgun, which was something we hadn't gotten in years. We got a couple decent seasons in here. We got some nice changes with drowning. We got some revamps, and we got a live event. So overall, I think it's going fine. And yeah, it seems like Jailbreak's winding down, so it's about as expected, really. I don't think Jailbreak is finished yet though, and there are still some updates that I want to see added to the game, which I'm going to talk about in my next video, but I'm going to touch on them briefly here. It's pretty clear that crew battles and game modes need a massive rework in my opinion. I think the two should be combined. Crew battles have so much potential, but they're pretty underutilized due to issues like exploiting, and also they're just not that interesting because it's only one specific game mode that you can do. I think if they were expanded to add battle royale, alien infection, and whatever other game modes they wanted to add into the future, this would make players a lot more eager to use them. And because you would get teleported to a different game, this would solve the issue of the whole lobby being required to vote yes to participate in the game mode. Like I touched on earlier, I think Creator City still needs a few more things. It still doesn't feel that fleshed out, and we've had it for over 2 years now. And finally, I'd like to see cops and apartments get a few more changes, since I'm pretty happy with how they've been reworked, but there's still a couple things that I would like to see changed about them. These updates don't have to be done this year. They can take as long as they want, but they are still things that I would like to see addressed before the devs stop updating Jailbreak completely, which is something that will happen. No game stays around forever. So I'm happy that they're still occasionally doing updates every now and then, and I'm still going to be playing and doing every season that comes out, as long as there is a card rewarded. But yeah, overall, I think 2024 is so far a decent year for the game, and it's about what I would expect since the game is starting to wind down and not release content as much. But what do you think? So far, are you a fan of the updates we've gotten? Which one has been your favorite? Make sure to let me know all your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you liked and subscribed. Also, consider becoming a channel member. Big thank you to my current channel members, Wowie, Silent Polarization, No Goodnick, and Blake Bryant for helping support me and the channel. Use code YouTube NoobFreak at any Jailbreak ATM to get your own NoobFreak tires. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and take care.